casual chat before we officially begin. As Lopesh works, you're welcome. We're excited to have you with us today.
So, can you share some part of your journey, how you started in sustainability and energy?
Yes, so let me to start. And to introduce me, I am Sonia López Kovács. My background is petroleum engineer. I started my career around 25 years ago, basically in Venezuela, because I live in Venezuela. I graduated in the Universidad Central de Venezuela. Then I start my career as a reservoir engineer, first in operation, drilling and production side, then in reservoir engineer like in simulation, reservoir characterization studies. After that, I start my studies, my master's degree in finance, because I think that the finance and economics is important things in all the business, not only in oil and gas. After that, I did a reservoir engineering management master degree, because this is important to integrate all the different disciplines and to understand what geology, geophysics, and economics and planning are doing, and as well drilling, in order to optimize and to have our best field development plan and management. Then in 2012, I did my master MBA, and then I moved to Spain. Working right now. I'm working in Repsol in Spain. In Repsol, I work in business development, looking for opportunities to asset acquisition and divestment, and as well giving some support to business unit in technical evaluation, basically in reservoir engineer. Then in 2021, in 2021, I start my master degree in renewables energy, because as we know, we are moving to integrating new energies in our energy mix worldwide. And I think this is a good opportunity to learn more about this new energy. And I start to integrate this knowledge in my career here in Repsol and my experience. Based on that, I be part of these low carbon projects too, like CCS, geothermal, and as well in some initiatives to sustainability, basically to methane emissions integration. And right now, I am part of the direction or group to reserve audit, that it includes all the asset or all the all the fields that we have operation and no operation in Repsol, and I audit this reserve for internal and external audit for the company. And as well, I continue to give support to low carbon projects like geothermal and CCS. I am planning to take advantage to comment to all of you that I am SPE membership for geothermal technical section for Europe. And as well, I am part of the SPE geothermal hydrogen technical section program chair for Europe too. I encourage all of you to be part of this technical session, to take more knowledge and to be part of this new initiative for workshops, webinars that they are promoting by the SPE. And yes, and thank you very much for all of you for the SPE for inviting me to give this lecture today, and to introduce to you, all of you, to why sustainability is important in the oil and gas, and to reach this net zero emission and in the journey to energy transition.
Ma'am, what inspired you to focus on the transition to net zero? Like, if you had to describe your journey in sustainability using just 3 words, what would they be?
In 3 words, you mean first is I think it's digitalization, efficiency, and environmental. That we are focused right now in to get this net zero and sustainability in the oil and gas industry. But of course, there are more words. It's not only these three, but it's difficult to define in only 3 words. Because there are different branches that the oil and gas industry are moving to this sustainability. It's not only to reduce emission, for example. There are more. There are different that we can see today in this presentation, my presentation. Do you want that I start to share my presentation? Please, I cannot see the faces. I am sharing my screen. If there are any questions, please let me know because I cannot see who has the hands up. Or maybe we can have the question at the final of my presentation. Okay. Can I start?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone, or maybe good morning or day to everyone. Thanks for this opportunity and thanks for inviting me to give this lecture today. The title of my presentation is Oil and Gas Industry, Environmental and Sustainability in the Energy Transition to Net Zero. Okay, let me to start my presentation today with one important definition, that this is what is sustainability. The official definition of sustainability is meeting the need of today without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. What does mean this? This is that we need to be sure that we use all the resources today in order to not affect the future generation to have access to the similar resources that we have today. The sustainability have basically three main pillars that need to coexist together or they are together in perfect equilibrium in order to make sure that all works together and to reach the sustainability. These three pillars are basically the environmental, protection, that is basically reducing the carbon footprint and wasteful practice. Then are the society pillar, that is the impact that we have in all our society, the employees, the community, stakeholders, and of course there are the economic pillar or economic variability, because as we know, every business or everything, we need to consider the economic viability in order to generate revenue, but as well to be in equilibrium with another two pillars. Yes. Focus in the oil and gas industry. The oil and gas industry as well applies the sustainability. The sustainability in oil and gas industry, as we can see here in this definition, are the practice of managing available resources, investments, and technologies to maintain and optimize operations with an emphasis in safety, reliability, efficiency, environmental, and social awareness. Okay, this is really important in oil and gas industry, that is focused not only in revenues but as well in this key aspect like safety, efficiency, environmental, and social society aspects. As we know, the Sustainable Development Goals, there are 17, that this is by the United Nations defined. We can here map it in this picture, these 17 sustainability goals, and this is here are mapped by the oil and gas operation. This includes upstream, midstream, and downstream. And we can see that in each of these stage or phases of the oil and gas industry can be participate or be part or contribute with these 17 development sustainable development goals. Okay. Of course, sustainability impacts the oil and gas industry. As we know, in the past, the oil and gas industry are focused mainly into get more revenues, more to be profits. But right now, in the equation, need to be included another aspects, like not only the economic part, as well need to be include the society progress, like diversity and inclusion, human well-being, community engagement, um, some labor standards, and as well to maintain the culture in our society, and as well to take in consideration all the impacts that the oil and gas operation have affect in the environment, like for example, spills, waste that we produce during our operation, greenhouse gas emission during our operation too, how we can affect the ecosystem or our environment and so on. Of course, going in the detail to the net zero or what is the net zero, first we need to be know what is the energy transition and greenhouse gas emission. We talk about, we hear a lot of energy transition, but what is energy transition? The energy transition basically is the switch of the different or the current energy source that there are with the new to change into another energy source. What I mean? I mean that in the past we're facing a new energy transition that include renewables energy. But in the past, we start the use of energy with the wood, then using some vegetable sources of energy. Then we start a new energy transition, displacing this vegetable source of energy with the oil and gas. And after that, that including the source of nuclear energy. And right now, we are seeing more participation of the energy mix of renewables energy. And why the renewables energy have more are more focused and are a big part of this energy transition is because we need to try to reduce the greenhouse gas emission. We see here that in the energy sector is one of the main responsible of these greenhouse gas emission. When I talk oil and gas, is the energy sector that include another kind of energies, okay, and transport and energy use in industrial products. And as we see here, in this graph in the right side of the slide, this is the global 1960, all these CO2 emissions are increasing during the time. And this is what we need to reduce and to mitigate. Because, of course, if not, there is a huge impact, not only in the climate, but in other things in our life. Here, based on that, we know that different countries worldwide have the commitment to reduce the emissions. And here in this graph, we can see the different countries. Apologies that is very small letters, but to you. Here is all the countries that have commitment to reduce the greenhouse gas emission. Here in is the commitment to 2000 in this yellow to 2050, and there are this CO2 emission are increasing during the time. And this is what we need to reduce and to mitigate. Because, of course, if not, there is a huge impact, not only in the climate, but in other things in our life. Here, based on that, we know that different countries worldwide have the commitment to reduce the emissions. And here in this graph, we can see the different countries that have commitment to reduce the greenhouse gas emission. Here in another that have commitment. Most important and summary for this slide is that have commitment to reduce the greenhouse gas emission in order to get efforts to reduce and to mitigate this emission to the atmosphere. The oil and gas industry are in the same way, try to reduce the emission, and based on that, in final of 2019, start to propose or to have the commitment to net zero targets. Here in this graph, you can see some of the companies, NOC, EOC, and inclusive service companies, oil and gas service companies, that have commitment to reduce the greenhouse gas emission. In this case, this big ball corresponds to Scope 3 emission, and the small one corresponds to Scope 1 and Scope 2 emissions. The most important is that the commitment that have this oil and gas company and to get efforts to reduce the emissions. But to go in more detail about the oil and gas industry, we can see that there are a lot of transformation in the operation and activities, and this is are influenced by different trends that affect the oil and gas industry. That first is the energy transition that we are facing, and of course the decarbonization. We need to reduce the greenhouse gas emission. Based on that, the companies have effort and increasing investment in technologies to reduce carbon emission and promote clean energy sources. Then we can see that there are digital transformation, not only in oil and gas, but worldwide. We see how the digital transformation is in our life. And of course, integration of artificial intelligence, data analytics, Internet of Things, and big data in order to improve our operational efficiency, safety, and cost. Of course, the oil and gas industry have regulatory pressures that, of course, affect the operation and investment. One of these regulatory pressure is the carbon tax that in some countries and companies is affect more than in others. Then have pressure to get more efficiency in all the operation and process, and as well the sustainability and investment shift. What I mean to sustainability, in order to implement sustainability initiatives that influence this investment strategy in the oil and gas industry. Here you can see oil and gas industry roadmap to net zero. This is one example that I take from this source that is EUGP for Europe, but in most of the cases can be applied for other oil and gas industries. You can see that the journey or the roadmap in this case started in 2020 and then to reach 2050 in order to reach the net zero emissions. But to reach this net zero emission, this journey need to be divided in this case in two steps. One is to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions. That basically is to implement some actions to reduce this emission. That is action that can be applied in the short term and very quick and not so expensive. This includes including renewable energies in the operation, electrification of the platforms, as well methane emission mitigation in the operation, then improve the energy efficiencies, and as well some low carbon liquid or fuels in the process. Then the second phase include between 2030 and 2050, that is the deployment of some low carbon projects that take more time. That this low carbon project started maybe here in the first phase, that is the case to carbon capture and storage. and hydrogen. That this project take time because they need some permission, need to be sure that the storage site is secure to storage the CO2. And then here in this stage, in 2030, 2050, we can start the deployment, the low carbon projects and hydrogen carrier, and of course ammonia and biofuels, etc. This is a good idea to the oil and gas can be supplied clean energy. I want to mention that, as we know, I am focused to say oil and gas industry, but most of the oil and gas industry right now are energy companies. What I mean, it's not only produce oil and gas, but as well include other products like electricity or another customer services that based on that we call right now like energy companies. Okay, another important thing and steps that oil and gas companies are in the way to more sustainable and reduce emission is implement these low carbon technologies and renewable energies. With renewable energy, I mean wind, solar, invest in wind farm, solar farms, as well bioenergies, biofuels, and in low carbon technologies, basically it's CCS, carbon capture and storage, and reduced emissions and efficiency improvement. Here in these two graphs from the International Energy Agency, you can see this is the average emission intensity of oil and gas operation. And if applying these initiatives of this action, like low carbon technologies and renewables, can be possible to reduce this global emission during the operation. This is so important. This is why the oil and gas industry are implementing this initiative. Here it's another graph that you can see the global CO2 emissions. This is in gigatons of CO2. And if this is the trend, if you don't apply any action, the trend continues to increase the CO2 emission. But if we implement renewable energy, low carbon technologies, we can reduce the trend of CO2 emission to the atmosphere. Of course, another important thing that the oil and gas industry are doing right now, it's investment in low carbon technology related to the subsurface. Most of us that we are part of the SPE, we know very well about all the process that include the oil and gas operation, like drilling, completion, reservoir engineer, geologist, geophysics, completion, and so on. And all of this subsurface knowledge and expertise we can use to these low carbon technologies. In this graph, I want to highlight that there are many options that we can use to generate low carbon technologies. There is not only the carbon capture and storage that we can hear a lot, but also we can use geothermal energy. Geothermal energy is the head that there are in underground that we can find everywhere, and we can use for shallow and deep geothermal energy. And as well, we can use geothermal energy to storage for head storage. As well, the hydrogen has have an important role in our energy future, not only for to use for transportation or as energy carrier, but also we can storage underground the hydrogen in saline caverns or inclusive in some depleted reservoir in order to get energy when we need, like seasonal energy storage or seasonal storage. Then we can use our reservoir to storage nuclear wasted, and of course we can use the compressed energy storage. Right? There are another use of our subsurface to generate additional energy. And as well, we can storage gas or methane in order to use in the future. Going some action that I presented before in the roadmap is the methane emission in oil and gas operation. Methane emissions occur in all the value chains in oil and gas operation. It's not only related to the development, it's included in exploration, in operation, in development, and inclusive in the abandonment or the commissionings. We can see different parts that we take these methane emissions. But of course, the main source of this methane emission is basically in the upstream, yes, compared with the downstream and midstream. And here in the upstream, the methane emission is coming from oil and from gas production. The main source of this methane emission is the vented, incomplete flaring, and fugitive emissions. These indicators of methane emissions are actions that the companies can be considered to take in quick manner and not so expensive and have a huge impact in our operation. This methane emission, you can see in this graph, this is the main sources for this methane emission, like a storage tank, when we have some volatile components of the gas or oil. In the gas compressor, we can find some methane emission, as well in pneumatic device and pumps, as well when we have well venting and liquid loading, and casing head gas. This is the main source that we have this methane emission. When we get and we take action in this source, we can generate a huge impact in our operation. Here it's an example. This is in US. How taking the corresponding action to reduce the flaring in the operation, we can reduce the total emission in this operation. You can see here, this is the Basin and Permian Basin in the US. This is between 2017 2021. This is the emission by basin. Yes, you can see here in the red is the Permian Basin, in yellow is the Williston. And here to take in action between 2020, you can see how they reduce the flaring emission in this operation. This is what we can try to get at the final is to reduce the emission in our operation. Another important way and action to the oil and gas industry are we focus, and this is important related to sustainability, is about the use of water. The water in oil and gas industry is used in all the value chain. It's not only in the upstream, as we see here in exploration and oil and gas production, but as well we can use by transportation, in refining and chemicals, and as well in terminals and retails. You see in this picture that the water is a key component in all the oil and gas value chain. Based on that, it's important to take sustainability action to reduce the water use in this operation. This slide, I want to show to you that there are some actions that we have in our operation, like in conventional oil and gas production, like here, or in secondary recovery, or in hazard recovery, or in the case to shale or tight oil gas production, is a challenge. And because we produce a lot of water, and if we try to do some actions in order to mitigate or reduce the use or the sustainable way to produce this water, we can generate a huge impact in our operation. Here it's a workflow to water management. Here I want to see, or I want to highlight that this is important in order to have a sustainable production water management. Here it's the main source of produced water. It's coming from the subsurface when we produce oil, gas, in the secondary recovery, when water injection, as well in the hydraulic fracturing. This is the main source to produce water in the oil and gas production. Then, of course, they need to be treat this water in order to reuse this water. It's not to take the water, produce, and then dispose it. This is what some companies did in the past, but right now the water needs to be treated by different process and depend of the quality and use that we use for this water, and of course to get the best proposal for this additional water that we produce. Here you see the workflow. This goes to treatment unit. Then, depending on the water quality and amount, we can reuse in the oil and gas industry process for agriculture, industrial use, or municipal uses, or as well we can use for waste or for reinjection. Sorry. Another way that the oil and gas industry goes in the digital and the sustainable way and to be more efficient of the process is to implementing digitalization and data analytics and artificial intelligence. Most in this new generation of oil and gas engineers are more adapted to this new application to artificial intelligence and data analytics. And right now, this is applying in not only in specific areas of oil and gas. You can see in this graph, can be applied in different process and stage in the oil and gas industry, in the upstream, downstream, midstream, as well in our subsurface assessment, when in our geological static model, dynamic model. We can use very sophisticated workflows and using very powerful machines and equations, and as well we can use this application to reduce downtime in operation. That this is very important because every downtime that we have, we can lose money and affect our continuous production. As well, with the artificial intelligence application, we can optimize production. We can detect some defects in our operation. As well, we can tracking our emissions. We can use in management, our production management, to decision making, and as well for cyber security and etc. As you see, right now we are seeing how digitalization is taking an important role in the oil and gas industry process. And as well to be more sustainability, the oil and gas industry, another important definition or things that I want to highlight here is the environmental, social, and governance, ESG. What is this? The ESG includes these three definitions, like environmental, social, and governance. That what does mean this? This is how the company works in order to be more sustainable with the social and environmental, and how reduce the emission during the operation. And the ESG reports by some important KPIs to this initiative in order to be a balance between sustainability, environmental, and operation of the company. Other important points that the oil and gas industry and investment and diversify that maybe some of you can hear is investing in natural-based solution. What is natural-based solution? Natural-based solution, there are some activities that the oil and gas industry are promote in order to reforestation or to restore the forest or the ecosystem when not only in the places that the oil and gas industry are operate or affect the environment, but also to invest in the ecosystem, grassland, wetland, in order to contribute to absorb more CO2. This is another branch that the oil and gas industry can be more sustainable and compromise with the society. I want to highlight here that as we are part of the SPE include recently in 2022 additional competencies in the SPE competencies matrix, the digital technologies and sustainability and energy transition as a core matrix in the board. As you can see here, not only we have in the SPE general engineering, drilling, production, reservoir, and completion. Right now, there include the health, safety, environmental, and sustainability. Of course, well construction, project facilities, and construction engineer, and data analytics and engineering analytics. Based on that is that the SPE include technical section, new technical section, because in the past there are another technical section like reservoir engineer, drilling, and so on. And right now they include this new geothermal technical section like carbon capture and storage, geothermal, hydrogen management, methane emission management, and data science and engineering analytics. You can follow or you can be part of this geothermal this technical section, and here you can find information related to or discussion or share knowledge or webinars or workshop on any other activities. If you want to be more involved in this part of the sustainability and energy transition things. Okay, and to this, I include these final remarks. These 3 final remarks for this talk is the first one: the sustainability in the oil and gas industry. As I mentioned before, is the practice to managing available resources, investment, and technology to maintain and optimize operation, with the emphasis in safety, reliability, efficiency, environmental and social awareness. That this is very important. Then sustainable strategies and practice. It's important and necessary to ensure that the industry adopts to be more environmental and conscious approach to get the sustainability. And the oil and gas industry can improve sustainability through measures such as carbon capture and storage, improve efficiency, reducing greenhouse gas emission in the operation, and investment in natural-based solution, and to educating to all the workers and inclusive the community and society. Okay, thank you very much. This is all for my side. If you have any question, please let me know.
So ma'am, we have collected some questions from our participants. Let's dive into them.
Ma'am, what about some innovative technologies or policy do you believe will have the most significant impact on achieving net zero energy? Could you share some examples of how these technologies are being implemented in real world scenarios?
About there are some policies and regulations it will depend of the countries that the companies are operated, because there are countries like there are in Europe that of course there are more restricted in some regulations than others. For example, in the United States, they are more promoting, or in the past, promoting more these low carbon technologies like CCS with some financing and fundings. But of course, this will depend of the companies, the countries when you operate, and the strategy of the company, because this is a general view, and each company decide which is the strategy to get this net zero emission. There are some efforts, of course, for each company, but not all the companies share these efforts in a public manner too.
Ma'am, how do you see energy economies balancing energy access and sustainable goals? Like many regions struggle with energy poverty, so could you provide some examples of successful projects that have managed to provide reliable energy while promoting renewable energy sources?
I don't have examples here about economics because, for example, in the company that I work, I am not working the economic or planning side, finance side, but this is a trade-off that each company has, depend of the, as I mentioned before, the strategy. Because, for example, you can see that there are companies that are investing in renewables like wind farms, solar farms, and this is part of the portfolio diversification. Sometimes it's not only related to the economics, because when we try to see economics, oil and gas is they get more profits compared to these renewables today. Okay, but it is a balance with the strategy and what the companies want to or are looking for. Okay, because for example, there are companies that are more focused in biofuels, for example, because they have some strategy or places that you can find source to generate these biofuels, or they have some in fundings or credits, But I don't have examples to share to you. But economics is relative. You can see right now the oil price is around $80, and the oil and gas companies continue to produce oil. Of course, the oil and gas is not finished in the short term. Maybe some person thinks about that. Not. The oil and gas will continue in the future, but of course, that is important to reduce the emission, to be more clean, okay, in our production. Or for example, one example that I can share, it's a green field, a new field, gas field that, for example, has a high CO2 content, more than 28%. And in this case, to start to develop this green field, need to implement a CCS project in order to produce the gas, then to split the CO2, and this CO2 can be reinjected in the subsurface, in the CO2, in the depleted or aquifer reservoir. Okay, this is the way that you can guarantee that you can continue producing these fields and not affect the environment.
Thank you. Hi, ma'am. Ma'am, the Indian government invests a lot of money on hydrogen fuel for hydrogen production, almost $3 billion in 2025. So, ma'am, but actually, what some businessmen in US say that the hydrogen driven cars are the most weirdest innovation of human history. So, can you explain whether hydrogen fuels are going to be a future fuel or not?
I am not prepared nothing about hydrogen in more detail because it's another specific topic, but related to hydrogen, they are working in order to reduce the price of produce the green hydrogen. And there are a lot of investment, and right now they are trying to develop new technology and related to electrolyzers and all of this in order to reduce the price to green hydrogen production. But in this moment, I don't have these examples in my hands.
Ma'am, so as you have discussed, even though the companies are still trying to shift to renewable energy and all sorts of new energy, but how can business transition to zero carbon model without hurting profits? Because at the end of the day, companies will seek profits, and it will take time. So even if they are transitioning, how much longer will it take, for it to take full effect?
This is a difficult question, and I don't have the answer for that. But we can see the analogy, for example, if we see because we are transition today with coal. Coal, we are continue producing coal in some countries too. But we started using the coal in 1920, maybe, or before. I don't remember. And just right now, we are finishing to use the coal. It's a long time. I say I don't have an idea how much time take this energy transition. This is the reason that I mentioned that the oil and gas will continue in the energy mix in the coming years, because it's difficult to say, no, we have not continued producing oil and gas. No, this is not true, because we need the oil and gas for another process. Maybe we use hydrogen, let's suppose, for transport, okay? But we use oil and gas for plastics. We continue to use plastics and another things.
Yes, ma'am.
How much time take? I don't have the answer. And I suppose most of the people don't have the answer. It's difficult. But this energy transition, I will share to you, if you want, a picture with the different stage of the previous energy transition. We are in the fourth or fifth wave of energy transition. This is not the only energy transition. In the past, we have several, and they take a long time, more than 20 years, more.
Okay, ma'am.
What I tell to new engineers is to try to include or to have knowledge to all the energies, because at the end, all the knowledge that you have, because you are petroleum engineer, most of you, yes or not?
Yes, ma'am.
At the end, we can continue use oil and gas, but you can incorporate another source like geothermal, hydrogen, CCS, nuclear rust, lithium extraction for geothermal. We need drilling engineers, because we need to continue drilling wells, not only for oil and gas, but as well for CCS, for geothermal, for hydrogen. There are new challenges with the casing design, casing materials, for pipelines too. We need some specification for these. If we want to include the hydrogen pipelines, we need to include some specification in order to not have any leakage. And of
Yes.
course, digitalization and artificial intelligence, that analytics is key for the new generation.
I agree, ma'am.
Okay. I apologize. I have a meeting. If you don't have more questions, maybe there are one. What should we keep in mind from?
Okay,
So,
so
ma'am,
to wrap up today's session, I wanted to express our heartfelt gratitude to Ms. Lopez Kovács for sharing her profound insights and expertise with us. Your perspectives on sustainability and energy transition have been truly inspiring and enlightening.
before we close, Sonia, ma'am, we would love to hear your thoughts on today's webinar and any final words of wisdom you would like to leave with us.
my recommendation and some to all of you is to continue one important thing in the life, not only for petroleum engineers but for all careers, is to continue studying and to keep in. I tell you is to, because right now the world it's moving so fast. There are new technologies, new new things that happen very fast, and you need to be updated on that. My recommendation to all of you is to continue studying. Not if you don't want to continue to do several master's degree, no, but to stay updated with the new advances in the technology in your career, in your company. Take in the stage to what happened in the world. This is an important thing for all of you because maybe if you stay updated, you can see where you can move, maybe in one way or another way. For example, maybe some of you can wait for digitalization. Maybe you are petroleum engineer, but you are more focusing in data analytics. And then you have an open door to go to another company, not to oil and gas, maybe like Google or any other company. But I think it's important that you be updated and, of course, sometimes be passionate about what do you want and try to get the best or give you the best as you in what you are doing.
Thank you once again for your time and contributions. We look forward to applying the knowledge we have gained today to drive meaningful changes in our respective fields.
Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure having you, ma'am, here. And to all our attendees, thank you for joining us today. We officially conclude today's webinar. Have a great evening.